Known to be among the countries that are developing at such an exponential rate, India and Indonesia are currently on the finishing line in the race of who becomes the best. These Asian giants, with a combined population of 1.7 billion, are forecast by the IMF to be the two fastest growing top 20 economies in 2023 and over the next 5 years. Both are pioneering strategies for getting richer in an era of de-globalization, energy shifts, fraught geopolitics and automation, even as they seek a political formula that wins elections and avoids social unrest. Whether they succeed or not actually matters a lot for their people and the many investors betting billions of dollars on them. What are they currently doing that makes us think they are almost at the finishing line of successful economies? What are their similarities, and how do their differences create a line of struggle between them? Join us today as we explore the economies of India, Indonesia, and beyond. For decades, developing countries have been in a race of becoming wealthier. They moved workers from fields to more productive manufacturing jobs in cities, have them make goods for exports, and watched the rapid formalization of their economies. While this scheme worked well for South Korea, Taiwan, and China, when applied today in any other developing nation, the results will be negative. So, why is it so? We'll get to understand that better ahead in this video. Back to India and Indonesia, two upcoming economies that are both located in the Indian Ocean and are part of regional organizations such as the Indian Ocean Rim Association and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which promote economic and strategic cooperation among member states. They also share a maritime border along the Andaman Sea. Strategically, the two nations are located at the center of the trans-Indian Ocean routes which connect the western and eastern parts of the world. India is near West Asia, Africa and Europe from the western coast, while Indonesia connects East Asia, South Asia and Oceania. And this Strait of Malacca is one of the most important shipping lines in the world, linking major economies such as India, Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, Vietnam, China, Japan, Taiwan, Malaysia and South Korea. Out of the top 10 emerging economies, India and Indonesia stand out. These two, together with China, have managed to maintain steady economic growth over the past decade. China's economy has grown at an average of 9%, while India and Indonesia have grown at 7.7% and 5.5% respectively. However, according to the IMF, China's economy is expected to drastically drop to 4.5%, while the two, India and Indonesia, are expected to have the fastest growing economies among the top 20 economies in 2023 and the next 5 years. Is achieving such growth an easy task? Actually, that would be a daunting task to partake in, and problems such as de-globalization, geopolitical tensions, energy crises, and automation problems are something that they shouldn't give a mean look. The success of these two countries is vitally important, not only for their people and investors, but also for many other developing countries looking for new and reliable ways to develop in the coming years. These two countries have been known to have so much in common. For starters, both countries are led by charismatic leaders who were first elected in 2014, and both will face elections in the coming year. India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, and Indonesia's President, Joko Widodo, also known as Jokowi, both began their political careers at the local level and are known for their abilities to get things done. The two countries have also experienced rapid growth over the past decades, with India's GDP increasing by 71% and Indonesia's by 52%. The services sector is the main driver of growth in both countries. The two are also relatively open economies, with trade forming approximately 40% of their GDP and foreign investment comprising around 1.5% of their GDP. However, most of their workers are employed informally, with India having 90% of its workers working informally, while Indonesia has 60% of them in the informal sector. They also have quite small budgets as compared to developed nations, with public spending accounting for only 30% of India's GDP and 18% of Indonesia's GDP. Indonesia has a gross national income per person of $4,180, while India has approximately half that amount, thus placing them as lower middle-income economies. Even if these two economies are quite similar in many ways, they actually have some various hallmarks in which they differ greatly. To explore this further, we will consider 5 strong sections while differentiating them. These are infrastructure, the export sector, industrial policy, and their political stance. Let's begin with infrastructure. We should all agree and even give these two a thumbs up for their stellar performance in infrastructural projects. Yes, these two have leaders who are very ambitious and patriotic in developing the infrastructural sector of their countries. Since Jokowi took over the presidency, Indonesia has succeeded in constructing 18 ports, 21 airports, and 1,700 kilometers of toll roads. Meanwhile, India is building 10,000 kilometers of highways and has created a unitary national digital infrastructure that includes a biometric identity system and a national payment system known as the Unified Payments Interface (UPI). To put this into perspective, India has a larger and more rapidly growing technology sector than Indonesia, with several world-renowned companies and a significant presence in areas such as software development, international technology outsourcing, space programs, and nuclear technology. In the 1980s and 1990s, both countries saw a booming manufacturing industry sector in their economies, but it went on a steady decline over the past 20 years due to political and economic turmoil, as well as the rise of rival low-cost manufacturing centers in the region, such as Vietnam. The two have also made significant progress in exports, with India's technology service sector becoming the leading export sector, making India the fifth largest exporter of services in the world. The combination of engineering skills, mobile data, and a national tech stack has given rise to numerous startups. Furthermore, the current global shortage of software engineers is giving India a headache. For Indonesia, the abundant natural resources such as coal, palm oil, iron, steel, and nickel have given it a greater advantage in the economy, as these resources usually make up the bulk of its exports. As the world's largest producer of nickel, Indonesia is expected to become the fourth largest producer of the green commodities used in batteries and grids. These commodity exports generate handsome foreign exchange for Indonesia. In 2021, tech services made up around 17% of India's total exports, and commodities, including fuel, made up about 22% of Indonesia's. The only discouraging fact about this sector is that it generates fewer jobs. Even India's IT industry has only 5 million workers, which is quite discouraging for them. So, both these nations are aiming to boost their economies by promoting the private sector through industrial policies. India's new industrial policy, One Nation, One Standard, focuses on promoting startups in every district, creating startup innovation zones in urban areas, and creating premium international brands for Indian products especially. India has become a home to 108 unicorn businesses, second only to America and China. In contrast, Indonesia has produced fewer than 12 unicorn companies. To boost investment, India has announced $30 billion worth of production-linked incentives for 14 priority industries, including semiconductors. The Indonesian government's main industrial policy is called downstreaming, and it focuses on natural resources. It aims to push multinationals to build refineries locally by banning exports of selected raw materials. For example, exports of raw nickel, a key component for EV batteries, were banned in 2014, and since then the number of nickel smelters has grown from 2 to 13 in 2020, with plans for up to 30 by the end of this year. Indonesia also has great plans to upgrade the value chain by making electric car batteries with a total capacity of 140 gigawatt-hours in 2030, which is nearly equivalent to global production in 2020. Most importantly, these two countries need foreign investment to grow their economies faster, and geopolitics play a crucial role in determining the inflow of FDI. Speaking of geopolitics, the tensions that are steadily growing are threatening financial stability through a financial channel. The imposition of financial restrictions, increased uncertainty, and cross-border credits and investment outflows were triggered by an escalation of tensions that could increase the bank's debt rollover risks and funding costs. The ongoing Sino-American tensions are just an example of how geopolitical tensions can affect their economies. Indonesia has maintained a balance between China and the West. At its current rate, it could drift into China's orbit. One thing we believe for sure is that China has made great investments in Indonesia, 4 times more than the US. It has been a significant partner in the country's infrastructure push, including the building of the high-speed train Albert Late. In this case, if Chinese companies are hit with sanctions, it could hurt Indonesia. For India, it is quite the opposite. India is far away from China. First of all, the frequent border intrusions and dashes between India and China have by far increased the risk of an all-out conflict between the two Asian giants. China has escalated the situation by developing infrastructure, deploying military forces, improving capabilities, and attempting to encroach into Indian territory. This could in turn lead to more implications for India's economy. In 2020, India banned several Chinese apps, including TikTok, and Chinese tech firms such as Vivo and Xiaomi. As part of India's industrial strategy, India is looking to attract Western firms seeking to diversify away from China. Even the US sees India as a strategic partner and a potential counterbalance to China's growing power in the region. As we conclude this, it's very important to point out that many of the developing nations are failing to grow because of what is currently eating them up. Rowdy democracies, corruption, and nepotism have made them unable to develop working strategies to enable them to grow. Neither can they even adopt what others have done, and so this has helped accelerate poverty in them. India and Indonesia have just escaped this matrix by doing the right thing, forming working policies that they follow to date. And so, comparing the two, which country do you think will make it fast to a developed state? Don't forget to leave your answer in the comment box below. Therefore, here comes the end of our video today. We hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you are new here, just don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified on any of our future uploads. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in our next video.